Evaluation of animal-human interactions. Panthera onca in a zoo environment. The jaguar is a solitary carnivore native to the forests and wetlands of Central and South America. They are the third largest cat species and are apex predators with strong swimming and climbing abilities. In zoo settings, jags are kept in enriched enclosures designed to mimic their natural habitat. This would include trees for climbing and water for swimming, hiding spaces for retreat, all which support their physical and psychological well being. Zookeepers interact with jaguars using protective contact methods that prioritize safety and welfare. Daily care would include shifting animals between spaces, feeding, cleaning, and training through positive reinforcement. Training allows for voluntary participation in health checks, improving welfare and reducing stress. Understanding human impact on captive and wild animals. In captivity, it is found that zoo animals may show stress behaviors like pacing and hiding when exposed to loud or crowded visitor areas. Some animals, however, may be stimulated by the interaction. This shows us proper enclosure design, enrichment, and positive keeper animal relationships reduce stress and improve welfare. In the wild, it is studied that white-tailed deer actively avoid high human traffic areas, shifting their activity to early morning and evening. This shows that even non invasive human activity can alter behavior. We can apply this to captive jaguar care by acknowledging the fact that crowds, loud noises, frequent exposure, and limited privacy can negatively affect jaguar welfare in the zoo. Applying anthrozoological principles would involve creating quiet, sheltered areas, using enrichment to mimic natural behavior, and fostering consistent positive interactions with keepers. These practices reduce stress and support psychological and behavioral health of jaguars in captivity. Human animal interactions and their influence on zookeeping. Cats and dogs are seen as companion animals and sometimes family members. These relationships are emotional, reciprocal, and shaped by mutual behaviors like touch, communication, and shared routine. A therapy animal, oftentimes a dog or a horse, are expected to deliver emotional support in structured settings. Their interactions with humans are direct and predictable, but shaped by performance expectations more than mutuality. Livestock animals, such as chicken and cow, are usually valued for their productivity, yet studies show they respond to human handling, revealing that emotional and behavioral needs exist even in utilitarian contexts. Human animal interactions are deeply shaped by cultural roles we assign to the animals. These categories influence how the public expect animals to behave. Companion animals are granted freedom, while therapy animals are expected to be reliable. Livestock are often denied emotional depth altogether. As a future zookeeper, I'll help shift these assumptions by modeling respectful, evidence based care and encouraging visitors to recognize the emotion and cognitive complexity of all animals. Human health benefits through human animal interactions. As a zookeeper, human animal interactions not only improve animal welfare, but they also significantly improve the mental, emotional, and physical well being of the keepers. The daily interactions foster emotional resilience, reduce stress, and give caretakers purpose and meaning in their work. A research study by Thomas et al. Found that zookeepers with strong bonds to their animals have increased motivation and job satisfaction, while Wells explains frequent animal interaction improves overall human health by lowering anxiety, reducing depression, and improving overall emotional regulation, and these benefits are amplified over the time. Hosey and Mephi emphasize consistent, individualized bonds between keepers and animals, which create emotional reward, structure, and professional satisfaction. This research shows us that zookeeping is also deeply human work. When zoos support consistent human animal relationships, they're also supporting the mental health, motivation, and emotional stability for their staff. Keeper interactions and jaguar welfare in zoos. A study in a United States zoo shows jaguars were observed before and after receiving structured enrichment from keepers, such as scent trails, puzzle feeders, and climbing opportunities. The results showed more exploration and natural behaviors, less pacing and stress linked activity, lower stress hormone levels. This shows that keeper led enrichment supports physical and psychological well being of jaguars. Our welfare concern reviewed carnivore species across many zoos and found that jaguars face high welfare risk in captivity. They often show stereotypic behaviors like pacing and overgrooming, poor outcomes even with enrichment. This study suggests that even routine interactions, if they don't offer choice or complexity, can worsen stress in captive jaguars. These studies also show us that human animal interactions can either hinder or support animal welfare depending on how they're managed. Effective husbandry must prioritize both stimulation and species specific needs to mitigate welfare risks. I apologize for choosing a snake as my human animal interaction video, but I definitely think I can run with this and show you how this all can connect with jaguar welfare. I would also like to apologize as I can't play the video directly from YouTube because it is age restricted due to the blood. But in the video, a large reticulated python is kept in a small, barren enclosure with no enrichment, no hides, no climbing opportunities. And prey animals in the form of rodent boxes are stored in the same room. As a result, the snake is constantly exposed to food cues through scent, which is likely conditioned it to associate human presence with feeding. When the keeper opens the enclosure, the snake immediately strikes and coils, showing that its welfare conditions and environment strongly shaped this behavior. Before she even opened the lid, the snake was showing feeding behaviors in the form of essing up, periscoping its head, being completely focused on her as the heat source, and moving towards her as she opened that lid. We see once the snake comes out that it has stuck shed all over its body. Poor husbandry is also evident in this retained shed, which is a lack of proper humidity, further compromising the snake's well being. From an anthrozoological perspective, the incident highlights how human expectations and cultural norms around reptile keeping can clash with the animal's natural behavior. Some reptile communities accept minimal enclosures and risky handling practices, while others emphasize enriched welfare focused care. I can tell that this is not welfare focused care, and she has ignored some of these cues, which would be very important for her to understand while she is handling such a large animal that can do damage. Social media culture can normalize unsafe interactions, and publicized events like this reinforce stereotypes of snakes as aggressive rather than misunderstood. The welfare implications are serious for both the human and the animal. For the human, there is physical and emotional harm. For the snake, there is chronic stress, injury, risk, and the reinforcement of abnormal feeding responses. Her husband also uses a snake hook to try to pry the snake's jaws open, which is a huge risk for injury and could further hinder feeding as a whole in the future if that snake's mouth is injured. This connects directly to zoo management of jaguars, where welfare focused husbandry and attention to species specific needs are essential for safe and positive human animal interactions. As studies show, enrichment and proper care reduce stress and encourage natural behaviors in jags, making them less likely to develop natural negative responses to keepers or visitors. This snake video underscores the broader lesson that welfare directly shapes the quality and safety of human animal interactions across species. Just like we see here in these images, an interaction with a jaguar could go very wrong, similar to the woman being bitten and constricted by the snake. If welfare implications had been addressed, such as providing a proper enclosure with hide, substrate, climbing, opportunities, enrichment, and the snake was well fed and the prey was kept out of reach, and she could read that snake's body language, this incident likely would not have happened. This does highlight how essential welfare is when it comes to safely handling animals of all types, but especially these animals that can do damage to us. Proper husbandry reduces stress and prevents dangerous behaviors and also protects the human and the animal involved. When we do neglect welfare, the risk of accidents and injuries increases significantly, no matter the species. Research limitations. Research on human animal interactions faces important limitations, especially in zoo contexts. Most studies have been conducted on domestic animals, which makes it difficult to apply findings to large carnivores like jaguars. Even when the zoo animals are getting studied, the sample sizes are small and observation periods are often short, giving only brief snapshots of welfare outcomes. For instance, Wark, Woodruff, and Wilimbanowski showed that enrichment reduced stress in jaguars, but their study involved only a few individuals in a limited time frame. Clubb and Mason argue carnivores also have species-specific needs that cannot be generalized from domestic animals, which further limits how these findings can guide husbandry decisions. As we look forward, the field should expand to include multi-institutional and long-term studies that provide stronger, more reliable data. For jaguars, this means studying not only enrichment, but also the combined influence of keepers, visitors, and researchers on welfare. Using technologies such as automated behavior tracking and non invasive hormone sampling would help overcome current constraints. By broadening both the scope of methodology and human animal research, zoos can better support jaguar well being and ensure management practices are grounded in solid scientific evidence. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great day, and here's my references.